Welcome to JHart Modelworks. It's time for update number 2 on the Tamiya 240 ZG buddy build with Shawn from the Scale Model Car Guide channel. Welcome to my workbench. Let's get started. Hey guys, Justin here with JHart Modelworks, coming to you with update number 2 on the 240 ZG buddy build with Shawn from the Scale Model Car Guide channel. Check out Shawn's update down below. I'll have a link to it. Shawn's doing fantastic work. He's way ahead of me. But before we get into the actual update on the build, I do want to take a quick moment to say a huge thank you to all of you who watch, all my subscribers, even all the unsubscribed people who watch this most recent video on sanding and polishing. I had no real content because the suspension was being held up. I needed some plastic tubing, which actually ended up coming in Saturday afternoon, but just literally I had nothing, so I was like, I need to get the sanding and polishing done. I'll go ahead and sand and polish out the car and just, make an update on sanding and polishing, a quick tutorial video. No one's going to watch it. It's sanding and polishing. It's Monday, and that video has over 650 views by Monday afternoon. That is crazy. On average, I get like 150 to 200 views, and this is over 3 times my average viewing. I did not expect a video on sanding and polishing to go to like my #1, but thank you. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate your views. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and switch this around and get this pointed at the bench, and we'll get an update as to where we are on the build. Alright, so in the sanding and polishing video, in the comments section, one viewer pointed out that there were 2 glaringly white spots on the top of the roof. I didn't even see it when I was editing the video. There's one about right here somewhere, and there's another one right there. And they were just glaringly white. Now the top one was just a speck of surface dust. It may have been dried wax or something, dry polish that had just fallen on the model, and I just didn't see it and clean it up while I was doing the video. The second one, however, I don't know if we can see it. Yeah, it's kind of like right there. You can still see it if you hit it at just the right angle now, but it was like glaringly white from any angle. Now what I did, I cheated. A long time ago, I just grabbed this set of permanent markers from Walmart. They're like $10. You get like two of every color. I grabbed the orange one. They got like just some super fine tips to them. Now what I did was I just went and I tapped a little bit of orange on top of that white spot, and I wiped it. And then I tapped it in again, and I wiped it. And if you get it before it dries, you can actually wipe it off with like your finger. You don't have to use anything like IPA or anything like that. And after a while, it actually stained the 2K clear, but it was wiped enough that it's still highly polished. So yeah, I mean, unless you're looking for it, you're not really going to see it. You got to kind of hold it at just the right angle. In my cabinet, it's pretty much going to be sitting like this, so it's just not going to be noticeable. I could have stripped it and resprayed it, but I'm not going to respray anything for anything that small. It's more work and it's more risk than it is reward. It is a tiny, tiny little speck. Even if it didn't clean up and I still just had the bright white speck, it's still one tiny, tiny speck. If I had crazed the plastic, yeah, sure, absolutely. I would definitely go and strip it and start over. If I had some kind of contamination that caused problems and just made it look really, really terrible, fish eyes, something like that, sure, go ahead and strip it and respray it. But I'm not going to strip something for something that small. There's too much risk of it not turning out as well the second go around. Now, we do have our suspension in, which I love how the suspension turned out. I have completely replaced the brake systems. I 3D printed up some rotors and some AP Racing calipers. The photo etch came from the Hobby Design kit. Hobby Design gives you a set of slotted and drilled, as well as a set of flat, and you're supposed to choose which one you want to put on the fronts, because the fronts are supposed to be disc and the rears are supposed to be drum. I didn't want to put drum brakes on the kit. I felt the kit deserved something a little better, especially with this paint job and kind of the way I was going with it. It really deserved to be souped up. Now, on top of that, for the disc brakes in the front, I didn't like how Tamiya did them. So Tamiya's brakes, this is the back of the brake. And this is the back of the disc. This is the front rotor. Your polycap's supposed to go in there, and then that sets in here like this. The back half of your caliper is molded into the back plate for the brakes. And the front half of the caliper is completely separate. And it's kind of hard to show you how this is supposed to look. What you end up with once you're done fighting with it is something that looks something like this, which isn't bad. There's a little bit of a gap between the front and the rear of the caliper. All in all, it's not terrible. But when you add the photo etch for the Hobby Design set, it kicks this out even further, and you end up with a gap that's more like that. And it looked bad, in my opinion. So I decided a full replacement of the brake system was going to be my best bet to make me happy. So yeah, I printed some separate calipers, separate rotors. A little bit of fine-tuning on the photo etch had to be done, grinding the inside just a tiny, tiny bit, just to get them to sit over the hats. The tubing actually goes into the back of the brake, and it fits real snug. It's just perfect fit. I cut it just big enough for the polycap and to glue the brakes on. So the polycaps are in there. The polycaps technically work. Problem is that I scaled down the wheels. The wheels that I had a female fitment, like a Revell fitment, and this is a Tamiya kit, so I needed male. So this is the fitment on the original wheels. So the other issue I had is I scaled them. I made a male fitment version, and then I scaled the wheel down. So this isn't a true 2 millimeters. It's probably like a 1.5. So these are real loose. And this is a test print of wheels I'm considering using. So I'm probably going to end up gluing the wheels on anyhow, which is no biggie to me. It's going to be a shelf queen. Just like all my models, it's going to go into a clear case and sit on a shelf. So it's not a toy. I don't need these to spin. But that's about where we are with that. I decided to do the sway bar in like a candy anodized looking blue. I matched that up with the springs on the shocks. Those came out really nice. Rears came out even nicer. And the calipers themselves are... For the brakes themselves, I started with a coat of Yamaha Deep Purplish Blue Metallic. I then gave them just the lightest hint of a mist of Candy Electric Blue to tame the purple down just a little bit So still like a little bit of purplish to it, but it's very blue. Those came out fantastic. I didn't clear coat them or anything. I just left them flat. And we've got our front suspensions. Does the whole turny bit. Move our rear suspension in place. Our fuel tank. As well as the spare tire section. So basically that holds the spare tire that would be through the trunk. It's not going to be through the trunk, but you know what I mean. You get the idea. One thing that is going to potentially be an issue is this drive shaft. The engine comes in through here and then flops down. So you got two glue points here. And it needs to go underneath the drive shaft. There's going to be a little bitty tab that's going to stick out under here. Now, I do have a couple of options. Option one is I can cut and sand that little tab off. Option number two is I can try and just wedge the drive shaft over just enough that I can get it up and over the rear end of the transmission and just get it right on to sit right on top of there. That's what I'm going to try for first. If that doesn't work, then I will probably go in and do just a quick snip of the tab at the back end of the transmission and just sit it in there. But we will see what happens when it comes to be that time. Otherwise, everything sits in there nice and straight. Everything is beautiful. It just kind of fell into place. The front is a little fiddly because you've got this piece that goes across and you've got to get, there's a point here and a point here that have to go in. At the same time, you have to get the uprights to go in that little hole so they'll do the little side-to-side spinning action. And then you've got to get these to slide down into these little holes as well. In the instructions on the chassis, did tell you to put these parts in. I wasn't paying attention. I put them in on the front side. It didn't work that well. I had to take them off and slide them back on the back. Luckily, all of this is covered up, so you don't really see where I made the mistake because it's all covered up with the suspension arms and some wash. Do have a couple of tiny little pieces of photo etch in there from Hobby Design set. There's a couple of tiny little pieces that go on the end. Not sure if the camera's going to focus. The camera doesn't like to focus with this orange. It just really doesn't like to. The orange freaks out the camera a little bit. Yep. So yeah, that's about where we are for right now. I did do a test fit with the wheels. The wheels fit inside the body perfectly. Nothing's kicked out too far, which was something I was concerned with replacing the brakes. I was worried that I was going to kick the wheels way too far and that, you know, you'd end up with a wheel sticking way out. You end up with a kit where the wheels stick out like this and it looks kind of dumb because, you know, this isn't a wide body kit. There are some over fenders, but they don't stick out real wide. I mean, they barely stick out past the body at all. So having these kicked way out will just look really bad, but they do tuck in just perfect inside the body. So all in all, it's coming along. I'm making progress. I'm nowhere near where Shawn is, but to each their own. I don't know how much more building time I'm going to get in during the week. I am recording this on Monday, but I will be attending DFW Plastic Society's small scale model exhibition. This will be my very first model car show. It is May 21st. That's going to be this Saturday in Dallas. I'm probably going to post this video on Friday because Saturday I'm going to be busy. Probably extremely nervous and over anxious. I've never done a car model show before, but that's kind of what I'm going to be doing. So if you're in the Dallas area and want something to do, you can come on out and check it out. There's going to be some amazing builders. If you're into lowriders, this is going to be your scene. I'm on their Facebook page, the DFW Plastic Society or Plastic Society DFW Facebook page. It's an awesome group of guys, but they do a lot of lowriders, which nothing against lowriders. Lowriders are awesome. They're just not my flavor. You know, some people like vanilla, some people like chocolate. I'm a peppermint kind of guy. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So I don't know when I'm going to get started on the engine, because I need to spend a lot of time this week filling out registration paperwork and figuring out what all I did on the builds, so I can list it all in the section for details on, you know, what modifications I did. I've got to pack the models up so that I can move them and get them shipped, well, not shipped, but take them with me to Dallas with hopefully no damage. I'm going to try and use some black closed cell foam in a clear case. Just kind of, I've never done this before, so I don't know what I'm doing. So we'll see what happens. So that's all for this video. Don't forget to check out Shawn's channel in the description below. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. Also, feel free to leave comments, feedback, critique, or anything else in the comment section below. I enjoy interacting with all my viewers in the comment section and try to reply to all the comments I receive. If you want to catch future videos, please consider subscribing to my channel and make sure you click the bell notification icon so you can be notified when I upload new videos. As always, thank you for watching, keep modeling, and have a great day.